back. Continuing in the local news, delivering his annual Christmas message, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves says that recent weather-related events have put a damper on the Christmas seasons. He said, by and large, our people remain faithful to holy rejoicing and singing of worthy praises, although devilish influences are lurking at the gates and are present with us.
Our people remain faithful to holy rejoicing and singing of worthy praises, although devilish influences are lurking at the gates and are present with us. It is good to recall where we started with Jesus and what our commemoration of his birth truly signifies. The prophetic voice of Isaiah foretold in simple yet majestic language the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We know well the chapter 9 verse 6 prophecy in Isaiah. For to us a child is born, to us a son, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. It was prophesied that justice and righteousness will establish his kingdom and uphold it from time on and forever, and that there will be no end to the increase of the Lord's government and peace.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has lamented the increase of commercialization of Christmas. In his 2016 Christmas message, the Prime Minister noted that the commercialization of Christmas, the excessive eating and drinking, the over-the-top expenditure on frolics and sideshows have come to mark the commemoration of the birth of Jesus Christ in countries worldwide which embraces the Christian tradition.
The commercialization of Christmas, the excessive eating and drinking, the over-the-top expenditure on frivolities and sideshows, and even hedonism, have come to mark much of the annual commemoration of the birth of Jesus Christ in countries worldwide which embrace the Christian tradition. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we feel the weight of the not-so-wholesome influences, externally sourced and homegrown, in our Christmas celebrations, despite resistance rightly from much of our people, indeed most of our people, who are determined not to turn our festivities into another carnival or desolate merrymaking. Thankfully, in our country,
he said, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we feel the weight of the not-so-wholesome influences, externally sources and homegrown in the Christmas celebrations, but expressed satisfaction that locally, religious leaders and most families remember what Christmas and the birth of Jesus Christ truly means.
Our religious leaders and our families remember what Christmas and the birth of our Savior Jesus Christ truly mean. Our country's unique 9 mornings activities, our Christmas caroling competitions, our home-based and community-focused lighting up, our house cleaning and home decorations, road cleaning and debushing, the various celebratory events for children and the elderly, the organized Christmas dinners and picnics for employees, special church services, and other religious commemorations indicate that Vincentians overwhelmingly retain a profound sense of a Christ-centered Christmas.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, in his 2016 Christmas message, recollected incidents in our nation's past where bad weather dampened on some of our Christmas celebrations.
At Christmas 2016, we would all be lifted to a higher place of holy rejoicing if we remember the angel's announcement, the declaration by a great company of heavenly hosts, the witness of the shepherds, and the spreading of the good news, and Mary's motherly treasuring up and pondering. In recent years, terrible weather events have put a damper on some of our Christmas celebrations. In 2010, we had to carry the pain and anguish of the consequences of Tropical Storm Thomas, which struck us on October the 31st. In 2013, the terrible Christmas Eve floods and landslides brought immense suffering and loss of life. And this year, the recurring adverse weather happenings from the end of September onwards have occasioned considerable damage and loss, again including, quite sadly, loss of life.
Prime Minister Gonsalves asked for the nation to love each other, be peaceful and committed to helping others, among other things.
The miraculous joy of Christ's birth and our profound belief in Him as our living God sustains us always. Morning by morning, new mercies we see. All that we need, His hand hath provided. Great is His faithfulness. At Christmas 2016, we must be especially kind and generous towards those who suffered in the recent floods and landslides, particularly those of our fellow citizens who reside in northeast and northwest of St. Vincent. At Christmas 2016, let us renew our resolve to love our God and to love our neighbors selflessly. In practical terms, we must strive to be peaceful and avoid hurting others with acts of violence. We must commit to helping others, especially those who are poor, in ill health, and marginalized. We must not despoil Mother Earth and our physical environment. We must make our best efforts to be productive and seek to eat by the sweat of our brows. And those who have lost jobs, we must be in solidarity with you. We must endeavor to be better fathers, mothers, wives, brothers, sisters, children, and neighbors. And we must uphold the basic values of citizenship, community, and solidarity. In all this, we must always thank God for His kind mercies, including His gift to us of life and living.
Members of staff of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment journeyed to Sandy Bay to give gifts of clothing, toys and toiletries to some families who were displaced following the passage of the most recent trough system, and also in the spirit of Christmas as part of the ministry's efforts to contribute to the rebuilding process of that community. According to 784 News, it was also a visit which served to demonstrate the love which our nation's health sector professionals have for citizens of our blessed nation. The staff noted the utter devastation and loss experienced by several families in the named community and stand in full solidarity with the government and all citizens as huge efforts continue to be made to restore some semi-balance of normalcy to the rural community. Still with some good news coming out from the Christmas season, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force said that there were no reports of any major criminal activities during the holiday weekend. NBC News reported that Francis, acting superintendent of police, said that the weekend was relatively a quiet one and thanked the public for their support. Meanwhile, Sergeant Henry Providence said that one of the 9 accidents which occurred on the 23rd of December resulted in the hospitalization of a mother and her baby. The Traffic Branch Department within the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has indicated that there were 9 reported accidents along throughout the country from the period December 23rd to the 27th of December. Chanel Mackenzie is currently representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the 2016 Regional Calypso competition. This competition took place at Festival Village in Montserrat 8 p.m. last night in the Queen of Queens Regional Calypso Monarch competition. Miss Mackenzie is among 8 contestants who would have vied for the title of Regional Calypso Queen. The current reigning Regional Calypso Queen is Barbadian Crystal Cummins Beckles. Last night's event was hosted by the Montserrat Festival Committee. The other competing countries are St. Lucia, Antigua, Anguilla, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. Thomas and Montserrat. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves expressed sadness at the news of the sudden passing of the Honorable Sir K. Dwight Venner, the second and longest-serving governor of the ECCB. The Prime Minister reminisced on his experiences with the late Venner.
Sir Dwight Venner, the former governor of the Central Bank, the Eastern Caribbean, died. Sir Dwight was my very dear friend. He was born in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and his father, Noel Venner, very distinguished regional economist, took Dwight throughout the islands to live. And of course, Dwight and I were at university together in Jamaica, and we subsequently taught at the University of the West Indies. So I've known him for many, many years, and I've kept up with the friendship, and we did work together at the Central Bank. I've been on the Monetary Council of the Central Bank since 2001.
Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves said in a statement that the Caribbean will miss the counsel of Sir Dwight Venner and expressed condolences to the family of Sir Dwight for their loss.
We will miss the counsel of Dwight Venner. He was a very faithful servant to the people of the region. May he rest in peace, and may light perpetual shine upon him. On behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on my own behalf, that of my family, I express profound condolences to his widow, children, his immediate family, and there are several here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We await the funeral arrangements.
Indeed, it is a saddening thing, the loss of Sir Dwight Venner. In other news, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are among ECCU states with a projected growth rate of 3.1%, according to a report by IKtv entitled Overview of the Economics of Latin America in the Caribbean 2016. The report says that there were no major upsets in financials, fiscals, policies across the ECCU economies during the first half of 2016, as the currency union's fiscal performance improved relatively to the same period the previous year. We'll take another commercial break. When we come back, your sports news. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.